Out of many, one. One team. One team. That is my promise to you.
Live from NBC 10, a Your Voice, Your Future town hall. Ask the Governor.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Gene Valicenti. Welcome to our live NBC 10 town hall with Rhode Island's new governor, Dan McKee. He's been in office exactly 6 weeks tonight, and we have his undivided attention for the next hour. Let's say hello to Governor McKee. Thanks for coming in, Governor. I know you're very busy, particularly today, but we want to thank you for coming in.
Well, thanks for the invite. Happy to be here.
All right. We're still not able to gather an audience. We would have preferred to have people with us in studio. But instead, we've gathered questions from our viewers, and we have a lot of those to get to. But first, let's talk about some of the newest developments just today in the news, Governor. Now, you and I have both been vaccinated. We're also socially distanced, so we're going to go without the mask. Same thing for Katie Davis. What did you get, the Pfizer vaccine?
I did. Yes, I did at the Dunk.
Right.
My wife, Susan, and I made the appointment and went down, and then we took our second shot about 2 weeks ago.
I got Pfizer as well. Now, Johnson & Johnson was in the news today, and I know the J&J vaccine, which has been put on hold, at least pending further investigation, it's a small part of our supply. How do you expect those couple of thousand shots, though, to impact the overall system in Rhode Island? What are your concerns?
Well, meetings today, and we were on a call with the White House, with Dr. Fauci and the leadership at the White House, talking about the Johnson & Johnson being put on pause. I made sure that we knew that that it's not going to impact any appointments that have been already, any appointments that have been scheduled. So everybody is online to get their vaccination. I believe there's about 400 calls that we're making right now to make sure that people this weekend get their vaccination.
So it's my understanding if you had an appointment for a J&J shot, we're just going to swap you out. We'll put you Moderna or Pfizer. Is that what I understand?
That's the plan, and yeah, and that's already been that's been put in motion very quickly.
All right, so no glitches, no upset in the system. Now, you said you spoke to Dr. Fauci. That's news to me. You know, he took a hammering over the weekend for saying even with vaccines and even with the progress we're making, you shouldn't go in a restaurant. I go in restaurants. You go in restaurants. What do you make of what Dr. Fauci is saying? Because you're opening up Rhode Island.
We are. We're incrementally flexibility, opening up our state and making sure it's safe, Gene. So I feel comfortable with what we've done so far. The 75% capacity, open up the bars for our dinners. We need to support our small businesses, whether you're going and dining in or dining out, do the takeout and make sure you're supporting our restaurants.
So are you shrugging Dr. Fauci off? Because over the weekend he said, no, you still shouldn't go in the restaurants. Maybe for takeout, but you shouldn't be in crowded places. What do we say?
No, I actually had a personal conversation with him one-on-one a few weeks back, and he was very complimentary of what we were doing in Rhode Island to make sure we're getting all the vaccines out to people at rates that are now nationally known very fast. So I would say that we are controlling our safety as the #1 priority in the state of Rhode Island, and so as the more shots we get into people's arms, the more people that get, make the reservations or appointments, the better off we're going to be. And then we're going to continue to open up, Gene. You know, we know that by mid-May, we should have 70% of the population, eligible population with one shot, and by the first week in June. We're still on track for that, even with the J&J issue.
Okay, so I'm going to take it. What Dr. Fauci said over the weekend, there's no bearing on how you're moving the state forward, and you're going to eat in restaurants, and we're going to continue to do what we do.
We're going to keep on measuring for safety. And right now, the incremental flexibility that we have provided for businesses and for opening our schools and, getting our teachers vaccinated and getting ready for the kids to come back into our schools. As long as we're monitoring the infection rate, the hospitalization rate, and as long as we're not causing any problems with that, we'll continue to incrementally open up our state.
All right, by the way, we're going to spend a lot of our hour here on Corona. We'll get to that in just a second. More news of the day, though. Your Lieutenant Governor, Sabina Matos, she was your pick. She's just been confirmed by the Senate. She'll be sworn in tomorrow at 8:30. I want to say congratulations to her and to you, too. She was your pick. But tell me this. Why do you think she's uniquely qualified to step into your shoes? She comes out of a failing city. The state takeover of the schools is on her watch. Unresolved pension crisis and ATVs ripping up the streets week after week. Why would you put Sabina Matos as Lieutenant Governor? Tell me.
Well, I don't know many people that have more experience in government than the new Lieutenant Governor has. I'm going all around the state with her right now. We'll get into every community, and she's being extremely welcomed and embraced with her experience. And she has a story. It's our story, Gene. It's our, the fact that she's come from the Dominican, didn't speak our language, has been educated, has a professional career, as well as one successful in terms of being president of the City Council in Providence. She's going to be very well suited. And what we're going to do is differently than in the past. She's going to be working very directly with me on real key issues. She's got a real passion for housing issues, and housing is going to be a very important issue over the next couple of years in the state of Rhode Island.
But don't sidestep the question on she's coming out of Providence, enormous problems, systemic problems. The takeover was on her watch. The unresolved pension is on her watch. And we can go on, Governor, so you have to address that. What is she going to do for Rhode Island?
No, I would, again, her experience, I know that I know Sabina, she's going to work really hard for the small businesses. I've gone to small business with her as recently as Friday. That's a really important part of our office as small business advocacy. We're going to work with her on that. She has, like I said, she has experience in the long-term healthcare area, especially in the housing and working with that community. So I have no fears, and the people of the state of Rhode Island are going to embrace Sabina as Lieutenant Governor.
Everybody deserves a honeymoon period. We wish her well, and we'll carry the swearing in live tomorrow on TurnTo10.com. All right, I'll tell you what, Governor, we're going to get to the school takeover and other issues, but first we have dozens of questions came in to us by email, on video, and through social media. First up, unemployment. It was in the headlines this week with phone problems at the DLT. We have received similar questions and complaints lately, but Miriam sums it up pretty good. Even before Monday's technical difficulties with its call centers, the Rhode Island Department of Labor and Training has been imploding. Fraudulent claims rampant, valid claims not being processed, incoming calls unanswered. Please make this a priority. Fix the system. Boy, Governor Mundo got the same questions month after month, but here we are with Miriam. Go ahead, Governor.
Yeah, so I tell you, Matt Weldon was a great resource to me during the time that we've had weekly calls with the small businesses. He came on. We helped hundreds and hundreds of businesses and also individuals work their way through unemployment. So I would say that if there's an issue there, make sure you call our office, and we'll make sure we'll take care of it. We'll get you directly into the DLT. I can tell you that the help there for our businesses on getting people to do work share programs. Also, there was times when 40,000 calls was coming in a day. In a day, 40,000 calls. So I can understand the backup, I can understand the frustration, but individuals who have problems, please contact our office if you're not able to get through DLT, and we'll take care of it just like I did in the Lieutenant Governor's office.
All right, Governor, let's just do about 30 seconds more on unemployment, then we have topic after topic. You know, Rhode Island's unemployment was the start of this multi-billion-dollar fraud. Yes. Across the country started here. We still don't have a proper accounting. Are you very concerned about what's going on? I received a notice that I was placed on unemployment. I wasn't, Governor.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I did too. My wife Susan did too. I mean,
you did?
I did, yes. And I had to follow up and make sure that the DLT knew that it was a fraudulent claim. This is a national problem, and I think it's just, it's unconscionable. For anyone right now to be trying to do fraudulent strategies, either in unemployment or in the areas in terms of the small business loans or anywhere else. I think that the people who are doing it, and when we catch them, they're going to pay a price. And right now, we are really aware of the fraudulent issues that are going on. And if you do receive a communication like Gene just said, or that I did, contact the DLT, contact our office. No one's going to get penalized if somebody happens to borrow, get unemployment on your name. You won't get penalized. You won't be paying any taxes on that. So, yes, it is a serious problem, Gene, and we're doing our best to get on top of it. I can tell you that it is a national issue. Our state police are very involved as well, and we're very conscious of it. And anybody that was out there that knows something that has happened that we can get some leads on, we'd love to catch these people and penalize them as quickly as we can. All
right, I know that it started here. It's quite the story. We still have to get better numbers, though, Governor, at some point. All right, let's hold that. Go to the next question. Yes. Now from a local high school student, Alyssa Zampa from the Exeter West Greenwich District.
I would like to know, what are the plans for the students who kind of dropped off the radar this past year and who might be behind because of the pandemic? What are we going to do to help them? Also, maybe what are some plans for the proms and graduations? Are those situations getting better, or are they just going to stay the way they are, where we're all kind of outside in small groups and doing our best to stay safe?
Well, looks like she's in the lab there. All right, two-part questions. The mayor of Fall River said this has been a lost year, and it could take 3 or 4 years to catch up. You agreed with him in our last interview, so let's talk about that part. How much have we lost, Governor?
Well, I think it's just only natural. It's not because of effort by our teachers or administrators. I mean, the COVID has been a difficult for all of us, including our students and including the people, our educators. But there has been a loss of learning, and that's just natural because you're going to get more in the classroom than you are in a virtual setting. So we are beginning to work on that issue, and we intend to have a 2-year plan on the catch-up. And so the students are going to have a great deal, many of the resources. Very fortunate the federal funds are coming in. We're going to be able to do really extraordinary things. And I do have a plan for education that's going to help those students on learning loss and beyond. As far as like the issues that our seniors and our high school students are concerned about, not only spending time in the classroom towards the end of the year. That's why I felt as though that our students were our highest priority. So I made the teachers a priority and also the personnel on both child care and in the schools to get vaccinated. And we expect that we're going to have many, many students in the classroom in May and June. And we are looking forward to graduations and the proms. And now we're asking all the schools to contact our Department of Business Regulations so they can work through the procedures that we're going to have in place. But I did announce 2 weeks ago, there will be graduations and there will be proms here in Rhode Island. All
right, very good. And I think you made a little news there. You said you have a 2-year plan, but let's get to that.
Yes.
A little later in the broadcast, we'll allow some time for that. In the meantime, also helping us out tonight is the I-Team's Katie Davis in Studio A, where she's been tracking questions coming in on social media today. Katie.
Well, Gene, some of our viewers are concerned about mandatory COVID testing for some students. Tara asked something on Facebook that we've also heard from another viewer, Ken. She says, why are 70% of Rhode Island school districts violating federal CDC guidance, insisting student athletes get weekly asymptomatic testing? And then we also have another question from our Facebook page from Lisa. She says, why isn't our state allowing local colleges to help by vaccinating students on campus? Other states are doing this, such as Connecticut. College students live in congregate settings in close quarters. Governor?
So I'll take the college first. I have spoken to all the presidents, universities, public and private. They are indicating that they're going to make it a requirement, just like a chickenpox vaccination, for students to come on campus in the fall. And we're going to support that. And one of the reasons that we're supporting that, one is for the safety, but there's also 62,000 students that live in Rhode Island that will be going to our universities and college in the state of Rhode Island. And we want to get everybody vaccinated in the state. So that's a good way to gain on the number of vaccinations, especially in that age group. As far as the mandatory vaccinations, I'm not in favor of the mandatory vaccinations, but at the same point, we need to make sure that as many vaccination options are open to everybody, not only the high school students 16 and older, but every adult that is eligible for a vaccine. Right now, when I came in today, there's about 1,000 appointments that are available right now, so I encourage people to go to, actually I wrote it out so to make sure that you know what it is, Gene, this is a kind of public service announcement. Go to vaccinateri.org. vaccinateri.org, or call 844-93-1779. And you can get right now there's about 1,000 appointments that are available. So as far as the athletes go, I mean, that's a condition that they'll play these sports, that they're going to wear the mask where they need to, and the testing is something that's going to be with us for quite some time. So I don't consider that an infringement on anybody's rights to do testing. I was at an event the other night. I got tested before I went in, and actually there was a person that was COVID positive that actually had to leave the event. So it's very important that we do our testing, whether it's in high school sports or in local restaurants, or whether it's reopening our schools. Testing is going to be with us for a while. That variant is still here, and you could just look at the news. The news says that all over the country there are spikes. We're doing everything that we can control and keep people safe. So I'd ask everybody to have the discipline just for another 6 weeks or so as we build up the number of people that are being vaccinated in the state of Rhode Island.
All right, Governor, when we come back, Katie will join us a little more in the broadcast. We'll also tackle some of the financial fallout of the pandemic. The Governor continues to join us for our 10 town hall meeting. We'll go to late o'clock today. Governor, just a couple of footnote questions left over from the last segment. The Providence Teachers Union wants to end the state takeover. They're pleading with you to do that. Are you up for that, yes or no?
No, we need to keep the takeover in place.
All right, and you said you have a 2-year plan for reopening schools. Just give me the quick sketch on that.
Yeah, so we're going to be working with any municipality, any school department that wants to work with us. It includes a municipal education departments all around the state, which I think we're going to be able to use federal money to help open up any community that wants that. And we're also going to provide them with some real good consulting work that I know that it would be very important. And then continue to work with the unions who would like to get some summer learning programs going. Those are all need to be done, and that's kind of like a quick synopsis of what we'll do.
I understand. And you have this kind of an office in Cumberland where you were the mayor. You'd like to roll them out eventually to all 29 cities and towns, 39 cities and towns.
It's a learning process where young kids would be learning how to read in Cumberland right now, 4-year-olds, and then during the school day, after the school day. So it's a 52-week a year strategic intentional education strategy.
It's almost like a shadow school system that complements the public education. You want this in every city and town. Okay, let's turn to another aspect of the COVID-19 crisis, following the money. The I-Team reporter Tamara Sikarzik poses a question based on some of her recent reporting on nursing homes.
The safe staffing bill for nursing homes, it's making its way through the State House, but the nursing home industry has told me they wouldn't be able to pay for these additional staff members unless they're fully funded with Medicaid. The state's Medicaid inflation index is set to 3%, but every year under the Raimondo administration, it's been cut to 1%, including in 2021. So do you plan on fully funding Medicaid to pay for this?
So the quick answer is that I did the full 3% on that Medicaid issue. So we fully funded that 3% in terms of the COLA, and we should do that. We continue to do that. As far as like mandating higher work staff, we ought to be really careful. Our nursing homes have really gone through a tremendous amount of pressure this year. With the COVID, and they're fragile. So we got to make sure that if in Massachusetts, for instance, when they put a higher staffing in a nursing homes, they actually funded that in their budget. So I think if you're going to force or mandate extra staffing, you need to do the fiscal note and make sure that our nursing homes can absorb that extra cost.
Okay, the nursing homes this week are complaining about a testing process that's been slowed down. They'd like you to free that up so they can get more nurses in their programs. Did you get an earful from them?
I haven't heard much about that, Gene. So, but I think that it is, we need to accelerate staffing in many areas, including the nursing homes, and there's ways that we can do that. So we got to make sure that we have qualified people in our nursing homes, but if there is a way to fast track that, and the nursing homes have some ideas about that, we should listen to them. And
some of the families are complaining they're not getting enough access to visit their loved ones. They understood the height of the pandemic, but now they say they've got to loosen up more. I had them on my radio show. They're very concerned, very emotional. They want to get in more, Governor.
Yeah, and I see that coming. Like I mentioned earlier in our talk here, Gene, the vaccination rates are really important. But I also made sure that everybody that's in a nursing home and or is working in a nursing home is getting vaccinated. I was advocating it from the very beginning. Just a few weeks ago, I found that the number of the residents were not being vaccinated, so we're doing that. As long as we get the vaccination in, I think that the people are going to be able to make their visits on a normal basis. And the good weather come and bring people outside if they can.
Okay, let's go back to Katie Davis. Katie?
Governor, the cost of treating the virus is weighing heavily on a lot of people. Here's a question that we got from Twitter. Will the state be covering coronavirus hospitalizations or offer financial assistance to patients who need it to cover the cost of a COVID-19 hospitalization?
Yeah, I think that came up on one of the HMOs, said they weren't going to continue doing the coverage. We certainly took a public position on that, and that position was reversed. So all shots, there's going to be no charge for the vaccination shots during this whole pandemic. And health insurance companies are going to be covering the cost until now and into the future. So I wouldn't be really overly concerned about that. The vaccinations are going to continue at no cost, and the health insurance companies are saying they're covering the cost, and no one's going to be denied access to health care if they need it. And gratefully, our hospitalization rates are significantly down over the last month and a half.
Okay, Dave emailed us about the state's fiscal situation. He writes, now that Governor Raimondo has moved on, What kind of financial debacle has she left Rhode Islanders, e.g. suspended state billing and the state hospital mess? And then we have a related post from Keith on Facebook. He posts, Governor, I'd like to see an independent checking of the books. I'd like to know who and where and when who received COVID relief money and how it was spent under Governor Raimondo. So do we know how that money was spent?
So two questions. One is, yeah, there'll be full disclosure on all the money spent. There's a portal right now that kind of describes that, but we're going to get more detail. We're certainly concerned about what was spent on consultants, outside consultants. Had a call today on that. Today's day 42 for me, so there's certainly a great deal more to take care of, but there should be full disclosure, not only on the CARES Act dollars or the COVID dollars that were spent in 2020, but also 2021, which will be under my administration. As far as the, and I'm trying to recall what the first question was there, but it had something to do with the hospitals and the Zambarano issue. And
Zambarano, the crisis
yeah.
at Zambarano and
Yeah.
Eleanor Slater. And what's really going on? Does the state want to get out of that business?
Yeah, no, I'm really concerned about the double talk that's going on there, and the fact that people inside the same area are not, that stories are not matching up. Our main goal here is to make sure that the patients get the care that they need, and that the families who have that need, we're listening to them. So that's our top priority, and we have made an adjustment there with Secretary Jones, who heads up the entire issues in terms of health in the state in that area, is working as the acting director. We expect to get some really good answers. I was on phone calls today with labor as well as consultants that are in that. We're gonna work our way through. I welcome the Attorney General and his review right now of some of the paperwork. That's a top priority for us, and we're going to make sure that people know if there was a plan, what was that plan, and then they're going to know very clearly what our plan, my administration and our plan will be to make sure that the patients get the care that they deserve.
Okay.
All right, Gene, I'll send it back to you in Studio B.
You got it, Katie. We'll see you a little later in the broadcast. Governor, just a couple of footnotes now. Do you want to keep the state in the Zambarano/Eleanor Slater business? Do you want those institutions to continue? And do you want to collect the millions of dollars in uncompensated care that the federal government, it would appear, owes us? Let's just get to that answer if we could.
Yeah, so we expect to get paid back to last July, and I think we filed the paperwork since I've been in office, so we made sure that that we're entitled to dollars there, Gene. Going backwards, we're going to get it, and if we're entitled to dollars going forward, we're going to make sure that we're filing for that that financial help. So that's part of the story, right? It clearly is a concern, and it's one that we're taking serious, and we have our staff really working daily on this issue until we can uncover that. Working with Rep. Surfer as well on the oversight committees, along with Senator De Palma. Everybody's going to know what's going on, and once we clearly get a clear picture of what we need to do there.
Okay.
So that's going backwards. That we're definitely going to do that. As far as the plan in terms of what we would build, what I did put in the budget was enough dollars to do facilities, and took the position that we're going to find out what type of facilities we need to make, the improvements or new facilities up in Burrillville. And so I put the $65 million, up to $65 million to take care of that issue.
All right, so you want the money back, whatever we're owed, you're going to press for that. And as for the future of Zambarano Slater as we know them, that's up for debate. There may be a replacement coming. All right, I think I fairly summarized it, Governor.
It's up to the debate, and we want everybody in that debate.
All right, fair enough. We're not done yet with our COVID-19 questions yet. Up next, Katie asked the governor your questions about getting things back to normal in Rhode Island.
Welcome back. Let's jump right into more questions for Governor Dan McKee in our town hall tonight. We are talking about the social impact of the virus and ongoing restrictions. Here's an email question from Nancy. She says, please rescind the executive order mandating remote meetings for state, local, and volunteer committees. If our children can be safe in school for 6+ hours, our elected officials can be safe during public meetings. Governor, what do you think? Is it time to rescind that?
Not yet, but we're going to see the time. But also, there's been a number of things that have happened that during the COVID that we need to keep review. There's advantages, by the way, to have virtual meetings in terms of participation that's clearly is higher than it has been in the past. So I would be looking at very closely in terms of what the meeting is about. If it's open access to everybody in the ways that it has been, I wouldn't be quick to change that. Especially, we still have got issues that we have to deal with here right now in terms of the virus. As far as the executive order, I've been asked when that's going to end, which is kind of part of this question. We got to be very careful of how we do it, how we time it, and also making sure that we don't make quick decisions right now that could cost the state money. There are programs right now that we qualify for. I think it's almost $8 million a week of federal money to help us with food and other things. The executive order goes that we may lose those funding. So I think there are advantages, just like what's happened in the municipalities with some of their, take it outside programs for the restaurants. We've got to look at what might be able to be used as that we might have learned from the, over the last year that can be an advantage. Public meetings online, I agree that at some point in time they need to be in public, but as long as there's good access there, I think that it makes sense to continue that at the moment.
All right, moving on to masks now. We have two questions next. They both have to do with gyms, so let me ask you both of them before you answer. The first one is from Michael on Twitter. He says, when will you start easing off the inflexible mask mandate that is still hurting small businesses like gyms, martial arts, and dance? Many people simply won't enroll if they have to wear a mask the whole class, even if they are 14 feet apart or more. And then we have a question from Facebook. Governor, before the virus changed the way gyms can operate, they were allowed to stay open 24 hours a day. Do you think they can go back to that? It would cut down on daytime crowds. Governor?
Yeah, so the 24 hours, I think that makes sense. Clubs were in that spot. We are continually reviewing issues that we have the ability to give flexibility on. As far as the masks go, the masks are here for a while, and that's not going to change much. The main thing that we need to do right now is get vaccinated. The more, higher percentage of the people who are vaccinated in the state of Rhode Island, the safer we're going to be, and the more we can reduce restrictions. As I said, look, there'll be music in this summer in Newport, and also there's going to be parades and fireworks on the 4th in the state as long as we get people vaccinated. And then you're going to see us relaxing more and more and more on these restrictions that are impacting our small business. And I know, as a former small business owner myself, how difficult it has been on the small businesses, and we're doing everything we can, but we have to make sure that safety is the top priority. Otherwise, we're not going to get public confidence. As the person just asked the question said, right? That confidence is important for that customer base to come in, and we're going to make sure that we continue to be safe. But I do feel very comfortable and very confident that we're going to be reopening the economy, reopening our schools in short order, as long as we get the vaccinations percentages up. And at the target, like I said, mid-May, 70% of our state should be vaccinated that are eligible, and by mid-June, 70% should be fully vaccinated, and that's going to give us a lot more flexibility.
All right. Well, of course, there is a lot more to talk about beyond COVID-19. Jean returns with that after the break.
Governor McKee, at work. He's been on the job 6 weeks. He's with us tonight until 8 o'clock. Governor, just a question I want to insert here, a timely one, I think. Tomorrow, we're going to have a protest up at the State House in support of what happened out in Minnesota, the young man who was killed in that police incident. And I know you have a good relationship with Black Lives Matter. You march with them in Barrington, and you've hired one of their staffers. Have you been in touch with any of the organizers? And has the state police been put on alert? Not that we expect trouble, but that's a realistic question, I think.
Yeah, I think this last year has really shed a light on many items, especially the equity issues and certainly the way that some of the police behave, and this was extraordinarily bad behavior, obviously, and killing somebody, and with the trial going on in Minnesota. I think that our state has really reacted very, very well. I did participate in the protest in early June, where thousands of people went at the State House, and they were expressing their anger and their concern. So we're going to continue to support peaceful, assemblies on this issue. And I have carved out in our office an equity piece in our office because I think it is one of our front and center issues. We're fortunate at this point in time that we have a police that are not conducting themselves in the way that they did out in Minnesota, and I would expect that to continue as a former mayor. And we need to make sure we bring our communities together, listen to the people who are protesting at that point in time.
Just quickly, have you been in touch with any of the organizers for tomorrow?
Not for tomorrow, but I surely will be. Our office, as you said, we have one of the members of the Black Lives Matter working with us, and also Pastor Chris, who's a man of color, who's a minister. That's one of my deputy chiefs of staff. So we'll be right on top of that. I suppose that's going to happen right after we swear in Sabina Matos as the lieutenant governor.
Okay, let's delve into the environment and an historic piece of legislation you just signed into law. This has to do a lot of interest with the climate change bill that is going to be the law. We've got a couple of questions about that. First one is from Arthur. You signed a very comprehensive environmental bill over the weekend to have the state of Rhode Island be carbon neutral by 2050. What is your plan to offset the cost of conversion? What is your advice to a brand new Rhode Island-based startup in regard to this goal? So separate fact from fiction that you're going to want us all to switch over to different energy sources. It's going to cost a lot of money, Governor. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, the future is here right now. In many respects, we know that the climate is an issue that we need to address. Rhode Island is a state that is, has the courage to put a bill out that was passed, and I signed that bill because I think that we need to put a plan in place. I think that we kind of have to, make sure that everybody's involved and we spread the joy of our clean air that we're anticipating, participating in. I don't expect that there's going to be really overall major cost to any one individual during the immediate time frame. Okay. And over periods of time, heck, I know, and if I'm still around in 25, 30 years, I know that the oil burner or the gas furnace that I'm using right now is going to be replaced. So I think that you're going to make sure that my feeling is that you ride the bumper of the technology as fast as it goes. And with the investments that's coming in right now and from Washington and the Biden administration, we want to make sure that the state of Rhode Island enjoys the benefits of the economic opportunities that are coming. I believe that's going to be part of a plan that we're going to put in place to make sure that happens. And then we're going to bring all the parties in. It did put in a great deal more responsibility on the executive office as well as the governor to come up with a plan within a reasonable period of time that we can start adopting. And we certainly have some thoughts on how to make sure that the cost is shared across everybody in the state of Rhode Island. They're all going to enjoy the benefit of the clean air.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you're downplaying this tens of thousands of dollar conversion cost that might be coming a homeowner's way at some point. You're saying it's not what they're making it out to be. To be honest with you, I thought it was going to be your first veto because you were very concerned about other things in that issue, whether frivolous lawsuits would come back. You say you were reassured by the Attorney General that's not the case, so you signed it.
Well, yeah, and I requested that letter from the Attorney General's office because I wanted it on record, in fact, that we shouldn't be concerned that that's a part of the record. And yeah, we're always concerned about cost, but mass transit's going to increase. There's ways that we can actually help the cost if there are conversions with people. You know, one of the things is that we're talking about an increase in the gas tax because of the issue. I made sure in the budget that I started with, there was a 9-cent gas tax increase, and I made sure that was eliminated. So I think that you can do all this without raising gas taxes in the state of Rhode Island. I think that there's ways that we can spread those costs amongst all the people who live in the state. A little bit from everybody will give us a lot of the dollars that we need to do some of the conversions that we need to make. And then we're going to be really promoting, obviously, Ford is not going to do a gas-fired vehicle, by 2035. Yes. So the future is right now, Gene, on this, and I think that we really need to make sure that we're taking full advantage of everything that is involved with the shift that's going to happen on energy, and in terms of making sure that we have a clean air and that we address the climate change issues that we all should be very, very concerned about. And I'm actually happy that the state has moved in this direction.
All right, there's more town hall to come. We'll be back with more of your questions to Governor McKee in just a moment. The I-Team has been following this story. Teachers for the blind and visually impaired, students in public schools. The Department of Education put the services out to bid, and families are concerned about losing their teachers. There was a rally in support of the teachers just a few hours ago. A line item in the budget is proposed to permanently fund the current services. So we have this question from Ryan, a 15-year-old student from North Kingstown High School.
Governor McKee, right? Well, I would ask and hope he supports a line item for the blind in the budget that he is currently working on. So, Governor McKee, if I hope to gain your support in that, and I hope you support the blind and work with your education commissioner as well as the legislative branch to get that done. So I guess my biggest question would be, do you support it, and how does that look in the budget?
Yeah, so every student needs has the right to be educated, and the visually impaired or the blind do as well. So we're going to make sure everything that is done there. And this is, again, another new issue in terms of the last few weeks. Of course, it's only been a few weeks since I've been governor. Right. So we are in conversations with RIDE on this right now. We're in conversations with the AFT, who's the union that's represented on campus, and then Rhode Island College is also impacted here. So yes, okay, the students should get an education. If a line item in the budget does that, then of course I would support that.
All right, in fairness to you, Governor, you're 6 weeks into the job. A lot of these things we're talking about tonight have been moving months before, and you're really just getting an up-close look at this particular one with the blind, what's going on in the state hospital system, right? So you're not necessarily opposed to the movement, but you want to know more about it.
Yeah, I don't want to sign on to something unless I really fully understand it, Gene. Okay. And so, I mean, I'll just give an example for the people out there. When I was incoming governor, I made sure that I had a daily meeting with Dr. Alexander Scott, so I understood the COVID issue and also understand how to roll out the vaccination. We identified multiple issues that needed to be taken care of, including our municipalities in that effort, including our rescue and EMTs to make sure they're putting shots in the arms. And now you can see where we are right now in terms of that rollout. You can just go to the paper. We're leading the country in many ways in that area. So we're taking the same thing with the issues on these education issues. I'm having daily meetings right now with the commissioner, superintendent in Providence as well, and also daily meetings with Secretary Jones relative to the Zambarano issue and the hospital issue. So yes, I think that you're right. I'm glad you said that. But we're going to be quick, but not in a hurry, and we're going to make sure the decisions we make are good for the people who live in the state of Rhode Island. Okay, let's talk a little more about the budget. Several retired public employees want you to talk about pension benefits and cost of living adjustments. I'll run through 3 of those questions quickly. Ken, do you have any plans to restore the cost of living benefits to retirees? The state wanted us to retire early and made us an offer that included the COLA to encourage us to do so. I took the offer, and now you have reneged. Not you personally, but he's talking about the state. Let's answer that. Yeah, I think we need to take a look at that and find a way to incrementally move that in the direction where the people who are retired and had been entitled to a COLA, and we got to make sure that as we restore that it makes sense in the budget and it balances that out. But that's clearly an area that I'm interested in, and I have a few ideas how to offset that cost if, in fact, we can't get to the COLA quick enough. All right, let's go to Katie Davis. She's following up with more questions for us. Katie.
Well, Governor, truck tolls have been the subject of great debate over the past several years. Let's take a look at this question from Greg on Facebook. He says, are the tolls going to be removed for truck drivers? And just to add, someone actually replied to Greg's comment saying they were sure that tolls are going to be expanded to other vehicles. So do you want to address that fear?
Yeah, first of all, there's no intention to increase the tolls into other vehicles, but I did support the Roadworks program. I think it is good for the state of Rhode Island, and I believe that is something that we keep in place. If we have to work with the small business owners or the truck owners in a way that is help and support them, as I have just announced a certain grant program for small businesses, provided about $70 million of tax relief to people who got PPP loans. We are also doing things in terms of the phase out of the car tax, which impacts all our truck owners in the state of Rhode Island, and they're saving a great deal of money on that phase out. So I think that the roadworks are very important to continue that. We know that the infrastructure is an area where we've been weak, and that hurts our small business friendliness. And so I think that's important to continue doing that.
All right, and we have another question from Dave on Facebook that we've heard from a few NBC 10 viewers. He says, why are online submitted tax refunds that usually take 7 to 10 days other years now not being refunded after 6 weeks or more? And he writes, P.S. where is my tax refund? Governor, what's going on there?
Well, I'd like to be able to answer that right now, but that'll be something I'll look at tomorrow. And if we have the gentleman's name, we'd love to call him and give him an answer. But yeah, I think that if it's backed up, I'm not sure exactly why. I know that it does get backed up at times, but I empathize with him. If you're owed some money, especially during a pandemic, we should get that money to you as fast as we can.
All right, Gene, I'll send it back to you in Studio B.
All right, one more break, then we're back. Governor McKee and I are just talking the commercial break. Hey, Governor, lay it out. Do you want to tax the PPP money that was given out to the businesses? Because I got an earful. They closed us, now they want to tax us on the money they gave us to keep going. Go ahead and take 20 seconds on that.
Yeah,
Go.
the only businesses you're going to hear from are people who made more than $150,000 in a year in a pandemic year. I think that we protected 85 or 90% of the businesses that borrow the PPP by giving them the first $150,000 of taxable income at no state tax. We're only expecting the businesses that have made hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay their fair share.
All right, so you're bristling at that. In other words, if you got the tax bill, pay it. You're saying they profited even in the tough times.
Well, if you made a couple $1 million or several $100,000,
Yeah.
and we exempted the first $150,000 that you earned, the only businesses that are getting an impact here are the businesses that made over $150,000 last year.
Okay. A few more things to get to now. From Larry. Larry tells us, I would like to know what you plan to do with the abandoned $22 million rest/visitor center on Route 295 North. What a waste of taxpayer money. It is, Governor.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to use that as a regional municipal public safety dispatch center, as they have done in multiple locations in Massachusetts, and really bring a regional strategy to save municipalities money. We're going to revisit that as long as the municipalities are interested. Mayor Lombardi actually has started to create that in his own police station right now in public safety station in North Providence. But yeah, I think we need to take a look at that, and we need to repurpose it if we can and make sure we get our value of it.
Well, by law, we're prevented from opening rest stops like Connecticut has. I don't know if that could be changed, but it's a lot of money that we let fly out of the state. All right, let's.
Yeah, there's many repurposes that you could do there. I mean, it's right on the National Heritage Corridor there in terms of a national park, and there's things that we can do there and not leave it, virtually empty.
All right, that's the answer. Let's go back to Katie.
Well, Governor, as you know, the DMV is always a hot topic in Rhode Island. So here are 2 questions that we got on that. An email from our viewer, Lori. She says, why are state government offices not fully open and no one has been laid off? It is still taking 5 weeks to get an appointment to register a new car in this state with 0 layoffs. And then we have a question from Lauren on Facebook. She writes, when will I get a reservation for a DMV appointment? Governor?
Yeah, I'm not sure where the confusion is there. I actually visited the DMV the other day and saw how the appointment process was going, and talked to the people right in they call it like the football, where they help people. 30 people are helping people every single minute of the day. So I was told that you can get an appointment. So if you're not getting an appointment, we'll certainly refer you back to the director on that. The appointment actually is working far better than going down there waiting hours as in the past. This is what I've been told by both the workers and the management team down there. If you're having trouble getting an appointment, please give us a call, and then we'll just pass along the information to you. But I would expect that that you should be getting appointments, and I think that the DMV, at least the people I spoke to that are working there, have a really good customer service attitude there in the face of a pandemic, and they are working extremely hard in terms of the. As everybody is out there, a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety in terms of that. So if you're having trouble getting an appointment, give our office a call. We'd be happy to dig in and see for the reasons why.
All right, we do Ask the Registry once a month on the radio. Now, sometimes we get your concierge service. I know a lot of people book appointments and then they'll keep them, but they tie up the appointment system. All right, Governor, this is our big finish, what everyone wants to know. Let's listen.
This is Anthony, Cranston resident. Need for the question to be asked about license plates. I know Raimondo had squashed the new design. What's going forward? Are we going to get new plates?
So the answer to that is that I did address that in our budget, and we'll take it up next year. I didn't think this was the time to be in the pandemic to be taking up an issue like that. But yes, we'll do that, and we'll go out to people who want to help, give recommendations on design. And, I don't think we need another Cooler and Warmer, but I certainly think that we need to open it up to a lot of people to have the design in there. And I would expect that we would move forward. I think it's time to have a new license plate, and I think that the Director Craddock agrees with that. So, and along with Senator DePalma and other legislators. So we'll be working on that next year. And if you have a plan that you want a design you want to submit, please do it.
All right. Well, these are bread and butter issues, Governor. People who behave and pay their taxes, they use the registry and they use the roads. So it's very, very important that we address that constituent service. We only have about a minute and a half left. Stuff that we did not get to, but it's important, and we'll just do the lightning round, and we're going to run out of time, unfortunately. There's a lot of talk about defunding the police and a lot of talk about reimagining the police. What thought have you given to those two concepts?
Well, I'm not into defunding the police as a former mayor. I actually respect our police quite a bit. I think there's ways that we always can improve the way we deliver services. A good example of that, Gene, is that we were going to remove the SROs from the schools in Providence. I've stepped in and said, no, we're not going to do that. And now we have the people in our office, along with the commissioner and the chief of police, talking about what the SROs, the student resource officers, would look like in Providence. So yeah, there's room to improve, and we always should be looking to improve.
All right. Also, 4th of July is coming up. Do you expect to march in the parades?
I expect to march in the Cumberland Parade. I was actually invited to be the marshal. I guess I needed to be a governor to be a marshal. As a mayor, I didn't get that invite. And then I'll probably be headed down to Bristol to get the tail end of their parade, and then I hope to be up in Chepachet because they have theirs. Right. They have their horrible parades in the afternoon. So yes, I expect to be participating on the 4th. All
right. Well, Governor, just personally, this has been a chance for maybe some of the Rhode Islanders to hear from you at length in prime time tonight. This must have been a fire hose of information coming at you. It's one thing to be the lieutenant governor, it's something else to be the governor. Your biggest surprise in the job so far?
Yeah, I think that it's, I don't know whether I've been surprised or not, but you're right. I look at this like a 1,000-piece puzzle. We got all the pieces together, but we have to put them together one at a time. I think we're getting through that in terms of making sure that we're addressing each issue one at a time. I think the biggest surprise, again, I've answered this before. I think that you and the media, I think that I personally need to get better at communicating, and that we're doing that. We're going to actually set up an additional press conference event on Tuesdays beginning next week. Our new Lieutenant Governor, Sabina Matos, and myself will be there to actually continue to talk to people, and I appreciate the opportunity here tonight to do just that.
But we'll come up. Thanks for joining us, and good luck with your Lieutenant Governor tomorrow, the swearing in of Sabina Matos, 8:30 in the morning. Lieutenant Governor McKee, thanks. We're out of time. We want to thank the governor for joining us tonight. He has he's got what I'm sure is a welcome reinforcement coming tomorrow morning when former Providence City Council President Sabina Matos takes over. In the meantime, thanks for being with us. We'll see you again.
Okay.